Let's face it, you've joined the elite special forces of Earth, or else you wouldn't be here. Maybe you can get away with chilling in the reserves, maybe. But when you make the choice to embark on the spiritual path, you become capable of handling situations in a way that nobody else can, which means that you have more responsibility than anyone else. These elite special forces I call the Guardians of the Light. Our job is to protect the inner light from the forces of darkness, the monster mind, which means that you must be highly capable of managing your thoughts, your reactions, your emotions. When difficult times come, you will flourish when others crumble. With what I'm about to teach you here, you will have the power to remain calm no matter what is happening in the external world. You will begin mastering the art of alchemy, being able to transmute negativity into positivity. The main issue that people face is that they really have no control over their physical and animal nature. A great example that I like to use is a story of a monk who was traveling deep into the Himalayan mountains to a sacred temple. On his journey there were many dangerous roads, pitfalls. One day there was a great rumbling that he heard that sounded like an avalanche of rocks sliding down the mountain. Alert, he began looking all around to find the source of this sound. And then he saw it. A great stampeding elephant charging straight for him. But something was off. There appeared to be a little man riding on top of the elephant, bouncing up and down. He seemed rather distressed, flailing all over the place. The monk thought, "Oh, this man must be in a hurry." So he shouted, "Where are you going, little man?" And the man on the elephant replied, "Wherever the elephant takes me." You see, almost everybody lives their life like the guy on this elephant. They are constantly being pulled around by their emotions. The instincts are the number one driver in their life. So they live as a slave to their animal nature, never really going in the direction that they want. Until you learn to ride this beast, you won't be able to remain calm in any situation. And there are many tactics and things you can try, but I would rather point you to the one most profound realization, a realization that grants everlasting peace. Now imagine that you're walking down the street and something catches your attention out of the corner of your eye. Oh my God, it's a snake. So you jump away. But when you take a closer look, you say, "Oh, it was just a rope." This is a common example in Advaita Vedanta to represent the illusion of the world. We react to something that does not actually exist. For a moment in our minds, there is a snake, but in truth, there was only ever the rope. What we are always reacting to is nothing more than a thought or an image in our mind, not the actual experience. We have strong attachments and therefore strong reactions to things because we are living in the illusion of separation. We believe ourselves to be the ego, and the ego is triggered very easily. I'll give you a personal example. My family has been going through a very difficult situation, which I've been a part of. Everybody in the situation is so focused on the snake. They believe that what appears to be happening is actually the fact. There's so much fear, so much anxiety, so much suffering for everybody. Everything is personal. Everyone is operating from ego. Everyone's fighting, defending themselves, judging one another, getting emotional, except for one little outlier, and that is me. I have noticed some anxiety arise in my body from time to time during the situation. Most certainly my mind has been a lot more active with thoughts, but yet what appears to be a nightmare for some does not inflict even a drop of fear in me. Even with the chaotic thoughts, the peace never really fluctuated. Where I could say that the presence of anxiety tried to cover up the peace, kind of like the silence in which all noise arises and falls back into. When there's a lot of noise, it can be kind of difficult to pay attention to the silence. But yet the silence always remains. I watch helplessly as everyone is caught in deep suffering because of this situation, while I remain free and at peace. So what is the difference between me and everyone else? And that is simple. I am not operating under the illusion. On one level, every difficult thing that happens to us is exactly the thing that we need for our highest spiritual growth. I have been operating from this mindset for so long that I immediately focus on the lesson to be learned. I immediately became aware of any errors on my part and was able to fix and change them as soon as I recognized. But I can also see how the situation was designed to help everyone else as well. However, because of our tendency to only focus on problems, we focus on our own pain and suffering, on negativity, on fear, and any other negative emotion, we remain blind to the truth. The longer you focus on your own suffering, the longer you remain in hell. The moment you orient your attention to the highest spiritual growth is the moment that these negative situations lose their power over you. Always listen. Seek the lessons that life is presenting to you. Everything that we experience is revealing something about ourselves. Embark on a journey of self-discovery and use every difficult situation to learn, not just to suffer for no reason. On a higher level, there is only God. God is in control the entire time. There were never any problems, no demons, no trouble, and no suffering. There was only ever God, playing pretend in these different forms so we could experience fully the excitement of being alive. For me, I look beyond the surface level of any negative situation and only point my focus toward God. Therefore, I do not see the snake. I am not paying attention to the illusion. So there is no fear, no reaction, no emotional involvement. But if everyone saw this way, life would be boring. The whole point of life is like we're supposed to forget our true nature as God and believe ourselves to be this little ego. It's like God's game of hide and seek. But once you have been found, meaning you've realized your true nature and realized the nature of all things, whatever happens in your life is no longer all that relevant. Through these realizations, you transcend material existence and become a master of the universe. Let us hear from the wisdom of Alan Watts, who described this teaching beautifully.
Now, let's go into a more mythological kind of imagery. Suppose you are God. Suppose you have all time, all eternity, and all power at your disposal. What would you do? I believe you would say to yourself after a while, man, get lost. It's like asking another question, which is, supposing you were given the power to dream any dream you wanted to dream every night. Naturally, you could dream any span of time. You could dream 75 years of time in one night, 100 years of time in one night, 1,000 years of time in one night. And it could be anything you wanted. You make up your mind before you went to sleep, tonight I'm going to dream of so-and-so. Well, naturally, you would start out by fulfilling all your wishes. You would have all the pleasures you could imagine, the most marvelous meals, the most entrancing love affairs, the most romantic journeys. You could listen to music such as no mortal has heard and see landscapes beyond our wildest dreams. And for several nights, maybe for a whole month of nights, you would go on that way, having a wonderful time. But then after a while you'd begin to think, well, I've seen quite a bit. Let's spice it up. Let's have a little adventure. And therefore you would dream of yourself being threatened by all sorts of dangers. You would rescue princesses from dragons. You would perhaps engage in notable battles. You would be a hero. And then as time went on, you would dare yourself to do more and more outrageous things. And at some point in the game, you would say, tonight I am going to dream in such a way that I don't know that I'm dreaming. So that you would take the experience of the dream for complete reality. And what a shock when you woke up. And you'd really scare yourself. And then on successive nights you might dare yourself to experience the most extraordinary things just for the contrast when you woke up. You could, for example, dream yourself in situations of extreme poverty, disease, agony. You could, as it were, work on the vibration of suffering to its most intense point, and then suddenly, whoop, wake up and find it was after all nothing but a dream and everything perfectly okay. And you would say, wow, man, that was a gas. Well, how do you know that that's not what you're doing already? You, sitting there with all your problems, with all your whole complicated life situation, listening to me, it may just be the very dream you decided to get into.